very pleased to virtually meet you. I'm Masato Otaki from JERA. Thank you very much for extending invitation London International Shipping Week 2023. It's a significant honor for our company to be included in the largest event within the maritime industries. Firstly, let me introduce JERA, Japanese energy company that might be somewhat familiar those in the maritime industries. JERA was established in 2015. Our goal was to create an internationally competitive energy company in Japan through partnership of Tokyo Electric Power, Chiba Electric Power, which ranked as third largest electric power provider in Japan. JERA's business assets encompass a series of value chains spanning from the fuel upstream to procurement, power generation, wholesale electricity, and natural gas sales. They boast power generation capacity that represents half of all domestic thermal power generation, stand as one of the world's largest in terms of the fuel trading volume. At present, we trade about 37 million tons of LNG and 43 million tons of coal annually. In addition to fulfill the needs of our home country, Japan, our affiliated company, JERA Global Market, is actively pursuing the optimal logistics on the global scale. In recent years, it has emerged as one of the primary suppliers of LNG and coal to Europe, which is facing challenges due to the Russian situation. We are addressing the critical issue of energy security on a global level, contributing to the well-being of mankind through the assurance of a safe energy supply. To empower our engagement in the shipping business, we have been consistently chartering the 18 LNG carriers on a long-term basis. Moreover, JERA itself holds the partial ownership in 9 of these vessels as a ship owner. Similarly, we have maintained the regular chartering of 12 coal carriers on a long-term basis. Through our deep involvement in the range of the value chains extending from the upstream to the fuel supply, we are capable of providing bespoke fuel supply solutions to meet our customers' requirements. This approach not only enhances our resilience against the fluctuation in the supply-demand balance, but also facilitates robust, stable business operations. Additionally, within the context of the JERA Zero Emission 2050 initiative announced in October 2020, we committed to pursuing the decarbonization. To achieve this goal, we intended to revamp our power generation portfolio by achieving zero CO2 emission through the synergy of renewable energy and zero CO2 emission thermal power generation. The incorporation of renewable energy is supplemented by the thermal power generation capable of generating electricity regardless of weather conditions. JERA is dedicated to promote the adoption of cleaner fuels and advancing thermal power technology that does not emit CO2 during the electricity generation. Next, I would like to provide some insight into my own background. I have spent approximately 20 years involved in the LNG business. During this time, I held responsibilities spanning from the LNG upstream development to transportation, procurement, and establishment of new LNG production export projects in the United States. Presently, I'm leading efforts to construct novel supply chain for hydrogen ammonia, anticipated to serve as emerging clean fuels. My role encompasses overseeing activity from upstream development to transportation in the terminal establishment, collaborating with the diverse array of global partners. Now, let's dive into the core objectives. I understand this year's theme for London International Shipping Week revolves around reframing the risk in the complex market. I am particularly keen on to discuss global topic of paramount importance decarbonization approach. My talking point will encompass how to respond to the customers' society's demand for low carbon energy, and what is required to accelerate or reduce emission in ocean transportation. I emphasize that world has commenced its journey toward the decarbonization society. Presently, our planet faces serious impact from the climate change. This is mainly attributed to the escalated consumption of the carbon-based energy over time, resulting in accumulation of greenhouse gases. Consequently, the escalation of the temperature continues, accompanied by the severe consequences such as the extreme climatic shift, rising sea levels, and the endangerment of various species, all of which exert a grave influence on the ecosystem and the human society. I believe that transition to the decarbonized society is an essential path to avoid these crises, build a sustainable future. As a pressing issue for humanity as a whole, it is important to minimize the greenhouse effect and stabilize the global climate by reducing and eliminating carbon emission from energy production to transportation to industry and life in general. Given the critical role that corporate effort to decarbonize in addressing climate change, protecting the earth means maintaining the foundation of corporate activities. Decarbonization not only triggers incentives to temper global warming, but also facilitates the creation of a sustainable future. Broadly, the purpose of a corporation is to achieve better society and the enrichment of the human life. Decarbonization emerged as one of the pivotal responsibilities company must discharge towards the society at large. Furthermore, transition toward the decarbonized society presents potential to create a fresh economic opportunity. New industries and the employment opportunity are expected to emerge, including the domains of renewable energy and electric vehicle. Instead of sticking to the conventional business model and the technologies, we must create a business transformation, innovative technology, and the business opportunities. As demand for clean energy and sustainable technologies is expected to increase in the future, active business development in this area will increase potential for new business opportunity. Profit will lead to corporate growth. In essence, the transition to decarbonized society is a path to simultaneously achieve two major goals: solving urgent global environmental problems and promoting new economic growth. However, the journey ahead is neither simple nor straightforward. The road towards a decarbonized society involves multiple major challenges. I would like to address three major challenges. The first is technology. The second is economic rationale. And the third is national and regional disparities. The first is the technological challenges. In order to significantly reduce or eliminate the carbon emissions, we need not only innovation in renewable energy and energy efficiency, but also the development of new technology, such as electric transportation and the carbon capture. And the technology required for decarbonization are really extensive. For example, renewable energy is very unstable power source. So if we think about stable supply, we need to develop storage technologies, and we also need the technology to transmit electricity without loss. And in order to realize these on a commercial scale, it is essential to invest a large amount of money. The second issue is whether we can secure economic rationale. In countries where fossil fuel used in the industries such as coal, oil, and gas make up a large part of their economies, decarbonization could have a significant impact on jobs and the local economies. Society-wide coordination and policy support are essential to create new industries and jobs while minimize this impact. However, there is no end to chicken egg debate. Who will take such a risk? Recoup the huge amount of money invested ahead of the time. If this problem is not solved, the speed of decarbonization will also slow down. It is a big problem that cannot be solved by the action of the single company alone. Each of us is expected to promote energy conservation, reuse, recycling, and the introduction of the new energy sources may impose a substantial financial burden. We must recognize and accept this burden. The entire society is required to change its awareness and behavior. In addition, we should be aware of the issue of the social fairness. The transition to clean energy risks unequal access to new technology and services. Pursuit of the decarbonization should not lead to new disparities between rich and the poor in the world. Building decarbonized society will be illusion unless we avoid energy poverty and create a society where all people can benefit. Therefore, we need an approach based on the characteristics of countries and regions. Depending on the country, economic power, land size, and the geographic conditions are different. In countries and regions blessed with the economic power and the land, transmission to renewable energy sources such as wind, solar, hydro, geothermal power is rapidly progressing. In these countries with excellent economic power, government provides large subsidies and support the industrial policies. However, we must firmly recognize that there are difficult countries, regions, where this cannot be achieved with the same speed. We will decarbonize while simultaneously realizing sustainability, affordability, and stabilities. This is a very difficult task. The rapid conversion to renewable energy is a great thing, but it also creates a huge negative effect. Because renewable energy is highly dependent on weather. The wind didn't blow, there was an energy shortage. The supply and demand balance of the LNG and coal suddenly collapsed, and the fuel prices soared. We have to learn dispose the threat to the basis of the life, such as the frequent power outage in South Asia. I think the most important thing now is to create new energy supply options. We believe that by having as many supply methods as possible and combining the variety of the options, we can begin to solve the problems. Now, I have talked a little bit at the high level so far. Next, after considering the challenges in the maritime industry, I would like to introduce how JERA is promoting decarbonization efforts in response to challenges in the energy industries that I mentioned a little bit earlier. I would like to express my own thoughts on how to respond to the customers' society demands for low carbon energy and what is required to accelerate for reduced emissions in ocean transportation. And the technical challenges for decarbonization in the maritime industry, for example, engine development. I understand the methanol, ammonia, hydrogen are expected to be the next maritime fuels. Efforts are already underway for methanol, but it will be very difficult to secure the supply in the near future for development plan based on the use of a green methanol. Ammonia is currently being developed in engine, but fuel efficiency and other factors are still unknown, and research is still needed in terms of the safety standards and leakage risks, such as how to ensure the safety of crews because of the toxic substance. Hydrogen is less developed than these two fuels. Engine development requires a certain lead time, and even after the development of the first engine, it will take a very long time, including the development of laws, regulations, before it becomes a widespread. Next, I will touch on the issue of economic rationale, the willingness of shippers to accept the fact that additional cost of the decarbonization will result in higher freight rates varies depending on the type of the vessel. No one is going to do this if it will reduce the competitiveness of their business, even if their decarbonization efforts are self-driven. It is important to provide sufficient support for projects that the first movers are working on. It is natural that they will not face its adverse effect financially, but it is necessary to create a market environment that provides incentives for decarbonization actions. Simultaneously, the magnitude of the investment in response to the environmental regulation is on the rise. As the importance of the financing for each companies increase further, financial incentives that encourage investment are needed. Building upon these endeavors within the maritime sector and considering the present circumstances, it becomes vital for the government, shippers, financial institutions, insurance companies, and other stakeholders to collaborate in spirit of mutual understanding. In terms of the characteristics of the countries and regions, it is evident that sensitivity to environmental regulations differs due to dissimilarities in political and economic conditions, market situations, and the geographical factors similar to those observed in energy industries. Operating within the maritime sector involves navigating the narrow spectrum of a cross-border global supply chain, and it may be difficult to build a one global procure network. Green Corridor initiative in shipping industry is being planned. It is great to see that efforts are being made gradually across the industry boundaries. I think that it is important for the first movers to build the business model and demonstrate whether it can be the prospective option for their followers. Both the energy industries and the maritime industries face common challenges to decarbonization, and we currently find ourselves in the face of exploring the remedies and the solutions. Now, I would like to talk about what kind of approach JERA is taking in face of these challenges as food for thought. As I already said, it is a time-intensive step to meet the key elements of the energy policy such as safety, energy security, economic efficiency, and the environment within the renewable energy alone. And there are vulnerabilities from viewpoint of stable supply. To respond to this, we are pursuing the various options such as the use of hydrogen and ammonia for power generation, CCS, and storage batteries, while strongly promoting the development of the renewable energy. Japan is an island nation with no pipelines or transmission line to connect it to other countries. And the spread of the renewable energy such as onshore and offshore wind and large-scale solar energy is geographically disadvantageous. Hence, it becomes the imperative to make an energy policy tailored to Japanese unique circumstances, and the transition to the decarbonization society required innovation in both technology and society. Since economic efficiency cannot be ignored as realistic approach, it's my belief that the most pragmatic approach is to make energy transition while utilizing existing facilities. Although we are making an energy transition from the fossil fuel in an environment where energy security is currently shaky, and when we are looking at the future with the various geopolitical uncertainty, energy policy that attempts to rely solely on the renewable energy sources would not be accurate. It is sometimes pointed out that Japan has a slow pace. Japan has its own path that suit Japan's characteristics. I would like you to understand the importance of that. We will create a new technology while steadily advancing our decarbonization approach. That solution could become the valuable asset to emerging countries in similar conditions as Japan. For example, JERA's initiative, so-called zero-emission thermal power, is a new technology approach that uses existing thermal power plants while gradually introducing the decarbonized fuel such as hydrogen and ammonia and increase the utilization ratio. While making effective use of the existing facility that hasn't yet recovered their investment, these power sources have the ability to adjust to fluctuation in the supply and demand, which is not the case with the renewable energy, and can reduce the CO2 emissions. In addition, in the future of the 2050, we have an image to introduce 100% decarbonized fuel power plant. As a first step, JERA will work with the partners to develop the technologies, and early next year, we plan to introduce ammonia as a substitute fuel from coal into existing thermal power plants. We will start with the utilization ratio of the 20%, but we believe it is important to take a step forward with the speed while facing the technology currently available. We are already planning a demonstration test to increase the utilization rate to more than 50% by the late 2020s. And we expect the technology innovation to continue to advance. Finally, I would like to summarize my speech again. How should we respond to the request for the clean energy? What will be needed to reduce CO2 emission in the transportation? First, effort to achieve zero emission are challenges that require each company to change its business model and revenue structure. At the same time, many uncertainties are recognized in the external environment of the business, including technological innovations and laws and regulation. And fundamental solutions to these challenges require the cooperation across the industry boundaries. We believe that it will be imperative to work across the national and the regional boundaries developed and the emerging economies and every industry sectors. Second, in order to move beyond these boundaries, we need to understand each pain that each one is suffering and develop and provide a solution that are acceptable to each. This means optionalities. It is crucial to keep in mind that the imposition of the uniform regulations might not sustain the patient long-term commitment of achieving zero emissions and could potentially block progress. In other words, mutual understanding is inevitable. And thirdly, there is not enough certainty in the economic rationale and the technological maturity for the decarbonization initiatives. So it is up to the individual companies to decide how they will work. However, we need courageous actions of those who support and challenge the first movers to take a risk and implement advanced initiative in the future. It is important to have a common vision for the future and expanded circle of the collaboration. We believe that decarbonization in energy and the maritime industries will be promoted only if these three keywords are synchronized: optionality, mutual understanding, and encouraging the first movers. Thank you for your long attention. I look forward to meeting with you in person in London soon.